Welcome back to another video. Today we are still in the Open Great League, and we're going to be featuring a new team following the rotation. We have the Empoleon paired with the Sableye and Trevenant here. Obviously, great lead here, expecting our opponent to switch out at some point. So far, they have not decided to switch out, so this is going to be an opportunity for us just to one shield and potential farm down, and that's what they're going to allow us to do. They decide to switch out into the Reggie. This Reggie here is going to have to tank a Hydro Cannon. The Hydro Cannon does go through, and then we're going to immediately switch out into our Trevenant. We know Trevenant can tank a Zap Cannon, so that's what we're going to allow them to do. Do we get the debuff happening? Let's find out. The attack goes through, and we do get the debuff, but we're still okay as we have a ton of energy. We're going to throw this Shadow Ball here to take out this Reggie or get a shield. Our opponent elects to let it go. Makes sense. And then here we're going to be 2 Shadow Claws away from another Shadow Ball. So that's that's why we're gonna be throwing the Shadow Ball right there. They decide to shield it and then go for the farm down. Our opponent here does end up having enough energy to throw another Flame Charge. We're gonna allow this one to go through. And then we're going to see what's in the back here. We're going to try to get to a Hydro Cannon here. Unfortunately, we get farmed down by that Stunfisk. Unfortunately, not great. But let's see if this Sableye is able to win the backline here. Our opponent ends up electing to go for the Rock Slide. The Rock Slide does neutral damage, but it doesn't KO. Here, we're going to potentially shield another. Okay, it ends up being the Rock Slide. And so we're just hoping that 2 foul plays, or excuse me, they have 1 shield, so hopefully 1 foul play can take this Stunfisk out. At this range, this is not going to KO, but maybe the ensuing Shadow Claws will be able to do enough damage. Let's find out. Still, it's in the red. If we're looking for the farm down, unfortunately, we do not get the farm down. Let's see, do they have enough for the Earthquake? Yes, they do. So GG's to opponent, well played by them. Well, in hindsight, we should not have allowed them to farm our Empoleon down. We should have switched out immediately, but it is what it is. On to the next game. Let's see what we find. Empoleon versus the Weezing, Galarian Weezing to be exact. This is a great matchup for us here, so we're just going to stay in. Worst thing we have to worry about is an overheat, but this is only going to be a Brutal Swing, I believe. Yep, ends up only being a Brutal Swing here. So we are still in a great situation. We're going to go for the Hydro Cannon here. Let's see if they shield. They do end up shielding, so maybe they don't want to see this Empoleon. Or maybe they're trying to catch. Okay, it looks like they're going to just fire up another move here. We're going to just decide to shield it because we think this Empoleon is very important. So our opponent ends up switching out. They try to catch a move, and we're going to be able to counter that with our Trevenant. Trevenant is going to be able to dominate this matchup. But they are going to fight back with a Ice Beam here. Ice Beam did quite a bit of damage, roughly 60 to 70%. We're going to be able to throw this Seed Bomb here. This Seed Bomb also does, I don't know, about 50, 40% right there. Because we are resisting all these balls, we are going to be able to get to another Seed Bomb. The Seed Bomb will potential KO or get the last shield. They elect to let it go. Now they're going to look for a farm down. They have their own Trevenant, so they weren't necessarily weak to the Empoleon. It just wasn't matched up correctly. And so here we're gonna have to consider shielding a potential Shadow Ball. We decided that this shield is worth it because we're gonna have so much energy on our Sableye. And then our opponent here is gonna be able to take out our Empoleon, I believe. Yep, Empoleon does go down. But this allows our Sableye to farm. And then we're going to look to go to 2 foul plays before we throw any moves because we know that they have a shield. We do get to 2 foul plays. First foul play goes and gets shielded, but we have another one saved. So this is GG's right here. Yeah, ABB team. We have the Empoleon Water Steel being protected by essentially 2 ghosts. The Empoleon is actually just searching for a potential Skarmory or some kind of ground type. For a good bit, those are very, very common, and we're just pairing it up with some pretty good ghost types in the back. Let's see what we find next. This team here, if you don't have the Sableye, the core of Empoleon and Trevenant is pretty accessible. maybe you don't go for another ghost type in the bag. Maybe you can go for a grass type. Kind of depends on what you have. So here we're going to get switched out into the Poliwrath here. Poliwrath here is going to be able to throw Icy Wind. But because it's not stab, we don't expect it to take us out. So we're going to let it go. Plus, we know that because it's debug, they're probably not shielding this. Yep. And then that means that we have a potential to farm down. And that's exactly what happens right there. So Trevenant coming in clutch, doing the right thing. And let's see what they have prepped for this. So we are 2 Shadow Calls away from a potential Shadow Ball. That's exactly what we go for. This is either going to get a shield or do some huge damage. And as you can see, there is a debuffed Trevenant able to take out that Frostlass. Pretty nasty right there. Cordelia would have had a hard time beating our backline as well, so they decided to leave. So yeah, GG's to our opponent right there. I was also thinking maybe Frostlass would be something that is replaceable for the Sableye, but the Sableye just has some really good bulk. So let's see here. We are going to be met with a Azumarill here. This Azumarill, okay, decides to end up quitting. Maybe they were triple weak to this Empoleon. Also, the Empoleon also is searching for Azumarills, as Azumarills would not be able to do any super effective damage to the Empoleon. So that's why Empoleon is kind of a good thing to have right now. Okay, so now we face a Galvantula. This Galvantula is going to be favorable against our Empoleon, so we switch out into the Sableye. This Sableye here does have to consider shielding, but they could be throwing a lunge here. Okay, there's some weak connection. The lunge does go through, and huge lag. We did call the correct move. We thought that they were going to throw a lunge, so the lunge didn't need to be shielded. And unfortunately right here, it looks like we absolutely run into connection issues. We're going to let this go for a couple more seconds, and then we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, this happens sometimes, so... Okay, we're going to come back, and unfortunately, the game had to be ended. Oh, and we do get the shiny Lickitung right here. I guess everything happens for a reason. This shiny Lickitung as a reward for our battles right there is a good constellation, I guess. Unfortunately, it's just completely lagged out. Has some connection issues, but let's see how good this shiny Lickitung is going to be. $7.99 sounds pretty decent. Oh, 98. So check out this team if you haven't already. Let us know if you enjoyed the video.